Hey everyone, I want to talk about crisis management today and a valuable lesson that I learned with respect to teamwork when we just recently went through something as a team, and some lessons I really want to share with you. So welcome to today's episode. And just recently as a team, we went through one of the season's coldest fronts. It was minus 36 to minus 40 degrees Celsius. So here in Northern Ontario, that is very frigid. These are very cold mornings. And as you can imagine, there can be a lot of complications when it comes to running a school board, managing a school, and whatnot. Well, this was the case this past week. We're in January as I'm filming this or recording this. And in one of our small towns, small rural towns, we had a power outage. Now, normally when this happens, we have a protocol in place within the board where we have to wait a certain amount of time. We're monitoring the temperature of the school, of the classrooms, and we have protocols and processes in place to allow us to decide when to act, right? When to shut down a school and move ahead with these types of actions. Now, of course, this is always the last resort. We never want to close down a school, but sometimes we have no choice. So what we didn't realize is that this power outage would have lasted 24 hours, and that's what it did. So throughout this ordeal, we as a team came together and worked beautifully to make sure that our students and our staff and the community were well taken care of, and we were able to move swiftly, promptly, and share the information with the community as fast as possible. So I want to share with you a few little lessons that we learned throughout this whole process. So I have notes here that I'm going to refer to because I really don't want to miss anything. So first of all, the power of teamwork. What we did, first of all, is when we saw that we were in a situation of crisis, we first and foremost asked ourselves, okay, who needs to be around the table to make these decisions? Obviously, superintendents were there, so I was there because I was responsible for these schools. We had the director of human resources, the lead of mental health was there, our director of communications was there, and of course, our responsible for building and construction and infrastructure. She was there as well because we needed to make sure, to monitor the schools and the temperature and all that. Okay, so this was the core team that comprised of the crisis management team. Now, the other thing that we realized is that sometimes we had to bring in people from the community. So at one point we brought in the mayor to get information from him to make sure that we were making the right decisions to be of service to the community. So you want to bring in experts once in a while to your core team to get more information and to validate. The second thing I want to talk about was the check-ins that we had in place. We made sure after every virtual meeting, because we would be meeting, in teams like the virtual teams, we would make sure to schedule our next meeting. So we'd say, okay, we're meeting right now. Let's check in a couple of hours. Let's check in tonight at 9 p.m. because we're monitoring closely the construction and the repair crew, right? Checking to see, okay, when is the power going to come back on? So we would make sure to always have the next meeting scheduled in our calendar. That was very important. The next thing we did was we embraced messiness. So as a leader, when, a crisis hits, it's going to be messy. People are going to have emotions all over the place. And it's up to you to be well-grounded, calm, composed, and to remember that you always have your team of experts surrounding you. So, leave your ego to the side and make sure that you're there to consult and ask for direction, ask for recommendations, and to not be afraid to, take someone's idea and to go with it, okay? Because sometimes it's the person with the least experience but has a fresh insight that will come in and save the day. So that's very, very important. And lastly, compassion above all. So this is super important because our communication, every time we communicated frequently to just keep people informed at every hour, if we could, we would keep people informed through our internal messaging system, through social media. We made sure to keep people informed. Texting, we were texting our principals so they didn't have a chance to start creating their own narrative. So, but we always steeped our communication with compassion and towards the other. We know this is a hard time for you. We know you're going through struggles right now. This is why we're deciding to do X, Y, and Z, okay? Because people want to read and want to feel like they are being cared for, especially in a time of crisis. So this community was without hydro for 24 hours in -36 to -40 degrees Celsius. So people were cold, they were miserable, they were terrified, and we in our communication wanted to make sure to relay compassion and caring, just to help calm emotions and to help people feel secure and at ease with us, right? So this is very important. I wanted to share these practices with you. So compassion above all, embrace the messiness of the process, check in regularly and communicate often. And remember that your team will be diverse, have your core team, and then don't forget to draw in some experts. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. And now a leadership challenge for you is to go over this video, share it with your team, and see how you can implement these lessons next time you come into a crisis. Or better yet, go over a crisis you've had to manage before and do a post-mortem. How did you act, and how did you organize, and how did you work through this crisis as it relates to what I just shared with you? Okay, so try to think of ways you can implement these lessons. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me, comment in the comment section below, and let's keep in touch. Bye for now.